We are back, and we're going to be doing a review of the Browns game, going through the good and the bad. It's all bad. Nothing good came out of this game. I mean, we can maybe make something up after we're done covering what everything else that happened in the game. But let's start with digging yourself in a hole in the first quarter that you would spend a good chunk of the game digging yourself out of. So on the first drive, one of Kevin Stefanski's worst quirks, in my opinion, pops up where early in the game, a lot on opening drives. If it's in a fourth down scenario where they're kind of close to the opposing team's goal line and maybe might get more points, Kevin Stefanski will opt to go for the fourth down instead of taking the automatic points, especially with this game on the road. I know the Falcons aren't considered to be a top tier opponent, but getting points on the road definitely helps you win games. So when you have a chip shot field goal and 3 easy points on your first drive, I believe you should usually take those unless it's not like this was 4th and goal from the 1. They did this weird thing between 2nd and 3rd down where they tried to run a no huddle, and it ended up confusing the Browns offense just as much, if not more than the Falcons defense, and Nick Chubb was tackled for a loss. So that didn't work out. So it's 4th down from like the 4. Jacoby Brissett ends up having to just throw it out of the back of the end zone because he's going to get sacked anyway. You get no points, and then the Falcons drive all the way down, kind of close to the goal line. They get to a 4th down. What do you know? They kick a field goal and take the points, and now they are in the lead. Not only did that 4th down result in not getting any points, that gives the Falcons a bit of momentum that was unnecessary for you to give them. When another team stops you on 4th down, especially when it's in the red zone, when you could have gotten points, that's just a momentum boost. And I know that that's not a thing that's like, quantifiably measurable maybe, but it is palpable. You can sense when another team gets a bit of inspiration because of a decision gone wrong that the other team makes, and that's what happened early on in the game. Later on in the first quarter, a flea flicker tight end screen, more on weird trick plays involving tight ends a little later, results in a David Njoku fumble that's recovered at the Browns about 20, and even if Njoku did not fumble that ball, it was an offensive holding penalty on that play. So that play wasn't doing anything good no matter what. The Falcons get the ball out of around the Browns' 20-yard line, and then eventually that drive is capped off with a touchdown. So they are immediately down 10-0, I believe, at the end of the first quarter. Let me check. Yep, they were down 10-0 at the end of the first quarter. So they have already put themselves in a 10-0 hole unnecessarily. They could have had 3 points heading into there. Maybe that Falcons drive isn't as deadly as it is without, if the defense has time maybe to settle down and they get some more chance to go over some stuff, but whatever, it's fine. 10-0, that's not that big of a hole to dig out of, and they do eventually manage to get out of it. But again, I feel like there was a lot of just poor coaching. In the second half, in the second quarter, the drive to end the half was especially weird. Starting with the reverse to David Njoku, the tight end. Look, David Njoku is a very athletic guy. He's big, he's tall, he can jump, he can block if you need him to. He's willing to do that. He's a great tight end. I think he's a great addition to this team. I don't want to see him on the receiving end of a jet sweep or an end around or a reverse or whatever. I understand why you give reverses to Anthony Schwartz because he's like one of the, if not the fastest guy on the team. David Njoku, again, great football player, great tight end, super athlete, whatever. Not that fast of a guy when considering your entire team. Not a barn burner. He's not going to put the Jets on anybody. At least people with actual speed. Maybe like a D lineman or maybe some linebackers, but he's not going to burn anybody. That play went for like -5 yards. I want to address these screen passes also. How many screen passes did they try to run, and how many of them worked? I understand there were screen passes that were open. I get it. I understand the idea that, well, if the execution is there, they would have gotten a bunch of yards, so let's run it. So let's keep running it because eventually one of these will work, except one of them, maybe some of them did, but the majority of them, especially in the times when you needed yards and needed them to work, they did not. And the one time that it did near the end of the game, it resulted in an ineligible man downfield penalty because it took too long to develop. That's the thing. These the screenplays that were being ran, sure, they were open, but they weren't working. So I don't know what the incentive was to keep calling them. I understand this, like, well, if the execution is flawless, then it would work. Well, there's clearly some issue going on between the call and the execution. It wasn't working. I feel like it should have been abandoned beforehand. And, going back to the drive before the end of the half, you have goal to go at the 1. I understand that Nick Chubb probably got away with a bit of a fumble on a quick whistle. So if you think he's a little rattled, you don't want to give him another chance again, you have another great running back in Kareem Hunt. And you've also been running Jacoby Brissett on like 1 yard 4th and 1 conversions the entire season. You can do that. Instead, you go with a play action pass in an offensive holding penalty, leads to a field goal instead of potentially 7 points. And again, it's not like this was a 3rd down, 4th down option where you're trying to, a run was too obvious. This was 2nd down. You still had chances after this if you wanted to open up the playbook a little bit. You had chances to. I don't get why on 2nd down you feel like that was the time that you had to get the pass going. You had Kareem Hunt there. Nick Chubb, again, there. Even if he did get away with a fumble, I say if you have 1 yard to go for a touchdown, Nick Chubb is a pretty safe bet to get it. But apparently, that's not right. And also, the end of the game, where was Nick Chubb when the Browns were in field goal range? They were literally 1 yard behind where Cade York made a 58-yard field goal, and he had plenty of room to spare on that one. So you are literally in Cade York's field goal range. Where is Nick Chubb? You are, and even if you don't use Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, again, great running back. You're not there. He's not running the ball. The ball is not being ran. They're running another screen pass that I already mentioned. Here's the sequence. I'm getting discombobulated because it's maddening. It is maddening. Okay, so first of all, Nick Chubb not on the field when you probably should be running the ball to get more yards to make this field goal more comfortable for Cade York, even though you're already in his range. No Nick Chubb for running. The run is completely abandoned, even though they still have good running backs. If not Nick Chubb, fine, whatever. There's a screen pass that results in the ineligible man downfield that brings you even further back, and you are now at this point you are reaching the edge of Cade York's comfortable range where you think he can hit it with accuracy. Then Jacoby Brissett gets sacked because again you are still passing, and the Falcons pass rush is getting to Jacoby Brissett. It is now 3rd and 23. Jacoby Brissett's trying to make something too much happen. You didn't have to get the first down there because, again, you are still you can get yards and then get back into Cade York's range, but he kind of forces a pass and it's picked off. That's the end of the game. Again, it is unfathomable to me that you are 1 yard behind where Cade York made it with range to spare. Run the ball. That's all you have to do. If it goes nowhere, then you're still in his range. You didn't have timeouts, but you still had, more than a minute to go. You were fine for time. Run the ball at least once. At least try once to get some yards. And that also, running the ball in this offense helps open up the passing game because if one run works and another run, you look like you're going to do it again, that opens up the passing game. You can get more yards. It's okay, whatever. Maybe, I'm not the coach. So there has to be something I'm missing. If I'm wrong, tell me how I'm wrong in the comments, please. I want to know. I want to be wrong. I want to know how I am wrong. Tell me, please. Please tell me how what Kevin Stefanski did at the end of this game makes any sense to me. I want to know. I am begging. I'm begging to know how it makes any sense at all. Okay, we'll talk about Joe Woods and the defense. I'm not as harsh on Joe Woods and the defense this week as people seem to be online, and that's because their two biggest game wreckers, at least as far as disrupting passes go, Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett, they were both out. So especially not just with the pass rush, but for the run blocking as well. We knew that it was going to be a bit of a struggle, especially on the defensive line to stop the run when you have guys like Cordero Patterson. And even the Falcons' backup running backs were eating all day long on this Browns defense. There weren't as many consecutive blown coverages, but there was one significant one where at the final Falcons drive where Koo got that 45-yard field goal that would end up being the game winner. There was a blown coverage that got them right into field goal range. So that's not completely quite worked out. Maybe that has something to do with Anthony Walker not being the green dot on the field anymore and Jacob Phillips getting that even though he's not really a starter. And John Johnson, doesn't he seem like a veteran presence who should be listened to? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, I feel like I've been rambling about this loss for too long. I feel like there were a lot of choices that were bizarre at best, and just it baffles me. I don't understand most of what the decisions were in this game. Let's pretend there's something good. Again, I thought Nick Chubb played pretty well when given the opportunity. I would like to see him more in situations where you're trying to close out a game, or at least get back into it and at least tie it. I would like to see Nick Chubb get a chance to play in the final drive of the game. That would be nice. And if you're gonna have Kareem Hunt out there, I would like him to actually run the ball. Again, the screen passes weren't working, and the screen pass to Hunt took too long, and there was a blocker already 5 yards down the field. I don't get it, but whatever. The good was Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and the running game was good. But that's always going to be a good thing about a Browns game, is that you get to see Nick Chubb play. So thank you for watching. If you made it this far through this 10-minute, almost 11-minute now hellhole of a video, let me know in the comments what you thought about this game and how the Browns pan out in the future. They play the Chargers next week. Oh boy, that's going to be fun. That's going to be a fun one. Leave a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed this video and like to see more like it maybe. Thank you all again for watching. I'll see you at the next one. I have another video to make today about the AFC North, so I'll see you later today actually. Bye.